Hi everybody, welcome to the 14th webinar in our current NCASS series. Do hope that you're all safe and well and that you've got a bit of sunshine today, possibly, wherever you are in the UK. My name's Alan and I've got with me today Mark. Mark, how are we doing, buddy?
Yeah, good, mate. Very well, thanks.
Just sorting your camera out there?
Yeah, I'm in a spare room. There's all kinds of weird stuff in here.
Yeah, I can see something slightly weird on the wall behind you. Maybe we shouldn't focus too much on that. So today what we're going to be doing, everybody, is we're going to be introducing the COVID-19 self-certification scheme, which is now available for members, I'm pleased to say. So if you are a member watching, you should have received an email in the last few days explaining the thinking behind it, and most importantly, explaining exactly what it is you need to do in order to get the certification. If you haven't received the email, fear not, don't worry. It's worth checking your junk folder. But for now, don't worry, as I said, because we're going to be explaining in this session exactly what it is and what it means, why it's important and how it's going to help your business as well. So, Mark, you happy? Should we crack on?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's do it. So, in the last few weeks, in particular since July the 4th, really, we have seen more hospitality businesses open up and get back to some form of trading. That is not to say all businesses by any means, because as we know, there are still a large number of caterers, in particular in the mobile sector, that have not been able to get back to trading again, with the current restrictions still in place on certain events and festivals and weddings, etc. Also with small restaurants and cafes with limited seating capacity, it just may not still be viable for to allow customers to dine in with the physical distancing measures still in place as well. Anything you want to sort of comment on that, Mark, at this point? I know we've sort of talked about it in the past, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's the guys that are doing street trading and markets. They've got the option to get back out there early. The guys that rely on festivals for their trade, it's a lot harder to kind of pivot into this kind of trading, this kind of work. But hopefully, this will give them the opportunity to ensure that they are safe and to demonstrate to themselves and to their staff and to authorities they're safe. So if they do want to go for a street trading license or some other form of trading, that option will be open to them. So for those guys out there kind of staring down the barrel of another 4 to 8 months or whatever it may be of not trading, that there may still be options out there for you. The same with guys in the restaurants. If you can get yourself on top of this COVID safe stuff, then at least there's the opportunity to adapt your business for the coming months until things settle down a little bit.
yeah, cheers, mate. That's positive. But having said all that, there are a large number of businesses that have now been able to reopen or start some form of trading again. And in order to do so, as we well know, those businesses have had to abide and still are having to abide by new regulations, following new guidance, and of course, having to introduce or have introduced mitigating measures to reduce the risk and make hospitality as safe as it can be. So we're not going to focus on what those measures are today, as we have covered that in previous webinars. So if you haven't seen those, or if you're not familiar, please do go check out the webinars page on the NCASS website where you can catch up on all that content. Now, the measures, as we know, they don't just exist in hospitality. These measures are now a part of our everyday life, really. For now and the foreseeable future, at least. We're abiding by them on public transport, our trips to supermarkets, pharmacies, barbers, you name it, really. And of course, the hospitality businesses that we all love, the restaurants and the markets, the cafes, the pubs, etc. And the truth is, with regards to these measures, we're all getting used to them or accustomed to them pretty quickly. And importantly, I think we're all coming to expect them. They are becoming the norm. We are looking out for them at the places that we visit, as we want to see that the businesses that we're visiting have introduced the necessary measures to keep us all safe. So in a nutshell, the certification is a simple way for you as the business owner to demonstrate that you have done exactly that, that you've introduced and that you're following the necessary measures to keep your customers safe. So essentially, it's a summary or a roundup of the measures that you've taken, and it's a simple and effective way to demonstrate your best practice. This is obviously really, really important for your customers, to local authorities, enforcement teams, and if you work in events or markets as well, to the organisers and to whoever else, really. that you've thought about and that you've considered and that you've introduced, whatever it is that you need to introduce in order to start trading again safely. Just very quickly on this, Mark, I think it's important to say that every business is unique. This, when it comes to the measures that you are introducing, it's not a one size fits all approach, is it?
No, not at all. And I think that what we've tried to do is provide guidance and to provide tools for businesses to understand what the ramifications are within their scenarios. So, different businesses will have different ways of dealing with the problem. Obviously, the problem is airborne virus that can affect people, and whether that's distancing, whether that's PPE of some kind, whether that's shields or guards, and the perspex guards that you're seeing cropping up everywhere. There are lots of different ways for businesses to mitigate the risks, and there are lots of different opportunities for that risk to occur. So, a restaurant will have toilets, whereas a mobile caterer won't. So, that it's not a one size fits all risk assessment. It's not the kind of thing that you can just kind of whitewash it and just say, yeah, I've done a risk assessment. This is very much about you understanding the risks inherent within how your business works, and doing what you can to prevent those and to mitigate them, because that's the one thing that your EHO or any other enforcement officer is going to want to know. They're going to, if they pop up, they turn up at your business, they might not be there for COVID reasons, but they'll expect you to understand it and to explain it and to leave them with confidence that you do understand and have dealt with the problems. So yeah, no two businesses will be the same. It's not something that could be a generic risk assessment. It's something that has to be adapted by each responsible person, each business owner.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned there the risk assessments. Like we said, the risk assessments and checklists are obviously a requirement, but the certification which we're sort of talking about and offering today here, this isn't a requirement. So there may be one or two out there. There may be people watching that are like, why should I bother with this? Why should I get this certification? What would you say to those people?
Well, why do all of the work if you're not going to get the certificate? You have a legal obligation under health and safety law to have a safe business that's safe for people to work in and safe for customers to enter or to patronise. So it's a legal obligation. You can end up in jail if you get it wrong. So you have to understand and assess those risks. But that risk assessment is kind of at the end of the process. So the first thing is to understand the problem. That could be done through the new training course that we've introduced, that's available now. Then looking at the risk assessments, looking at the checklist, and then sort of signing off to say, yes, I've done this, I've understood it, I've put these processes in place, and you can be confident that I've done that. So you're kind of giving yourself that seal of approval, confidence that you've done it. Hopefully that should breed confidence amongst your customers and amongst any enforcement officers that you come across. Obviously, it's a legal requirement to have the risk assessments done. So to be under that heading of to have that certificate, it will be helpful. Furthermore, it's going through the process of assurance through the primary authority. Obviously, we've kind of had to rush all of this stuff out as quickly as we can. So the guys down in Greenwich and Monmouthshire are hurriedly going through it all and checking it and making sure they can sign it off. So once that happens, it will be assured advice and guidance. And that means if you follow it and you do it as you said you've done it, then you're safe and you're doing things properly. So there'll be less likelihood of overzealous or gold plating by enforcement officers or authorities that you may come across. I think that if you've got all of this stuff locked down, you've got all of your documents, you've got your training in place, you've got your risk assessment, and you've got your nice form confirming you've done it, or you've got your certificate up there, bold as brass, it will just give people confidence. But, it will only give people confidence as long as if they do dig down, they find what they want to see. So, it's not just about, whitewashing it with I'm COVID safe and then having essentially a death trap there. You certify to say that, yes, I fully understood this and I'm delivering it. So you have to stand behind it. If you're going to sign it, you have to deliver it. Otherwise it's worthless. But, you'll get pulled up on it. We'll get a call. We'll say, well, if they weren't doing what they said they're doing, how can we stand behind it? So, it's a way of you demonstrating, pulling it all together, all of the work you've done to bring your business up to the new standards for safety that we all have to adhere to, and delivering a certification scheme that businesses can afford, We've always been about making things affordable for businesses, and at the moment, a lot of businesses are not getting much work, so cash flow is going to be an issue. And there are businesses out there charging hundreds and hundreds of pounds for this kind of certification. But we were very determined to deliver it at a cost price or for free, essentially, for all members, to get you guys out there trading safely, so that you can start earning again and start looking to the future.
So in a nutshell, it's about demonstrating best practice, instilling confidence, giving reassurance, in particular to customers, and proving compliance and training. Right, so the certification is made up of the resources that you need to complete, and also the online COVID-19 training course, which has been launched this week. So the good news is that if you are actually already trading, and obviously therefore you've already introduced all your new measures, as well as, of course, completing your risk assessment and signed your compliance statement, to keep everyone as safe as possible, well then, you've already done essentially the bulk of the hard work that actually counts towards the certification. In which case, the only two additional tasks to complete on the NCASS control panel are uploading the reopening checklist. We've launched an updated version of that this week as well, and as I said, completing that online COVID training course. There we go. We've just got those three come up there. So that is the compliance statement, the reopening checklist, and the COVID risk assessment. So just to recap, the four things we're focused on completing: COVID risk assessment, compliance statement, reopening checklist, and the training course. Now, Mark, do you want to just quickly explain to us, or for those that are watching or may not be familiar, or may be sort of new to this or looking at this for the first time, what each of those one are? Maybe sort of just a minute on each. Start with the risk assessment.
Yeah, so the risk assessment, all of these products were developed with Jenny Morris, who's our sort of food safety guru at NCASS, and she's absolutely wonderful. And so we sat down and said, we need a risk assessment that will be adaptable, that can address all of the different issues that our customers might come across. But it is a risk assessment for the business, so you don't necessarily have to have one per unit. You may want to have one per unit, and you do have the option for doing that. But we see it more as a kind of top-down risk assessment, looking at the general issues rather than going into where you're putting your perspex shield or wherever you may do it. But obviously you can put those things into it. So the idea behind the risk assessment, obviously it's a legal requirement. It shows that you've worked through the potential risks that could occur, and you've come up with mitigation measures and put those in place. Obviously all risk assessments are dynamic documents and can be amended and may need adding to as you go along, and they are kind of a learning process. So I think that people's problems with risk assessment is this kind of fear that if they get it wrong, then that they're leaving themselves open in some way. I mean, I think that's the wrong way to look at it. The risk assessment is about helping you to identify a risk, and then if something goes wrong, then you then just add that to the risk assessment. So there's a lot of fear out there, I think, about things are actually there to help people. And quite often I think it's just the jargon that people use. The word risk obviously puts people on edge. But the risk assessment is a really easy document to use. It just takes you through the various different risks that can occur now due to COVID, and asks you how you are dealing with them, or if you need to, because some of them, it may not be an issue for you. The example would be the mobiles not having a toilet, whereas a restaurant or bar would. So we send that to the responsible person for the business, and they will then look at that and develop it for the business. They may they should really then cascade it down to staff. Ideally, even work with staff to develop the risk assessment, because it's them that's going to have to deliver what it says in it. And staff quite often have some very good insights. And just get it working. Obviously, if you have quite a diverse portfolio of business, so maybe you've got a sushi restaurant and a mobile bar and a pizza oven, then you might want to do multiple risk assessments if the risks are significantly different per business type. But it may be that you can just cover it all within sort of one top-down COVID risk assessment. So the option is there for you. In terms of the checklist, that has two major functions really. One is a prompt to remind you of things that you might have forgotten to do, or not sure you did, or just to double check that have been done. And the other point of it is to save time to your local enforcement team. because these are the things that they're going to be looking for and asking you when they come out to see you. So if you can tell them you've done it all before they get there, then they just need to come out and make sure that you have, which is a far quicker job. And, you know, these guys are under a lot of time pressure. You know, they've got things to do. And if you can save them a bit of time with some desk-based, you know, send them your normal risk assessments for your food, send them your risk assessments for the COVID, send them all your documentation, like your checklist, and then they will come prepared, and you will have a swifter and hopefully a better inspection or visit from your local enforcement team. We're getting, you know, it's not just EHOs that are going out, licensing officers are going out, and people are looking for different things, really. And they tend to be, if you treat them with respect, they tend to be dealing really well with mobile caterers on the whole at the moment. So be really nice to them. They may not be enforcement officers just because they've got a clipboard. They might be there for licensing. They might be there for something else. But everyone's going to be interested in how you're managing the risk. So the checklist is a really important piece of information. So if you upload that and send that over to your EHO via the NCASS, via your membership panel, control panel, then you're going for brownie points. Then, you know, you're really helping out, helping the team, and obviously being transparent as well, and proving that you're transparent at the moment is really valuable as we push to get more opportunities for mobile businesses and for small independents to trade and to get through this. So transparency is absolutely going to be king. It's the one thing that you know, people are complaining to local authorities and you know, the police, etc., are businesses that aren't doing things properly. And as we saw, I don't know the details, but I understand that there was, this outbreak in Aberdeen where sort of 13 people got ill in one pub, you know, which would suggest that there'll be a problem with distancing there, or a problem with how they're mitigating their measures there. So, you know, being transparent and showing what you're doing will help the local government and also the public have confidence in what you're doing. So checklist is very important.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, and you were pretty influential, obviously, working with Jenny on getting the training course over the line as well. Quick synopsis of that.
Yeah, the training course hopefully is a really helpful and nice and easy thing to work through. Some of it will be stuff that you'll already know because we've all been watching the news for months. But yeah, it takes you through COVID and where it came from and what the risks are, and tries to give you a real kind of broad understanding of the problem. Not just kind of, this is COVID, this is what it does. It's very much a case of, this is how you manage this, is this how you deal with it, and you can be confident to do so. We sent a copy of that to the responsible person for each business. And if you're not sure who the responsible person is, it's probably you if you're the business owner, and we have your email address and your contact details. We'll have you down as the responsible person. So that goes out to you. The reason for that is because you are responsible when that hits the fan. So, you know, you need to be clued up, even if you're not operationally running the business. You're the one that'll end up in court if something goes wrong. So we've sent it to you. We also provide you with extra courses that you can send to staff or managers to get them trained up. I believe it's free, completely free. Is that right, Al?
Well, yeah. I mean, you just want to finish off my my script here for me.
Oh,
mate.
sorry.
That's fine. Doing a good job.
But I mean, it takes about an hour to do the course. Yeah, maybe a little bit quicker depending on how well you know it, and obviously reading speed, things like that. But it's a nice little intro to the problems and hopefully some practical solutions to deal with it. And that will be a really good starting point if you haven't done your risk assessment yet as well. But it's just,
definitely.
This. And, you know, if you've got people that are food safety trained, you know, if you think about it, the front of house is now far more important in terms of the public image that you have, because people will be judging you as they walk up, and they're just as likely to turn around and walk away again if they're not happy with what they see. So, you know, get all your front of house staff trained, get everybody aware of it, because, you know, one person just scratching their face or doing something that, you know, gives people, you know, scares people or worries people. You know, as you know, I'm a smoker. I coughed in a shop the other day, nearly cleared the bleeding thing. So, you know, I think, you know, being aware of, you know, people's concerns and managing those, and I think that the training course will be really helpful for that. It's free and it's quick and it's good to do.
Thanks, mate. So yeah, it is really important. Obviously, Mark's done a really good summary of all the documents there, but I've just got to stress again, it is really, really important. If you haven't yet completed these docs, those three in particular, the risk assessment, compliance, and reopening, that you do take your time with them. You know, particularly the risk assessment. Take your time to get it right. Make sure they are accurate and they are doing everything that you need to get. That you are doing everything you need to keep your staff and your customers safe, and most importantly, that you are recording it in that document as well. I think the real key to this, which Mark sort of stressed as well, is in you. With this being a self-certification scheme, it does need to be you that analyzes and considers all the risks and reduces those risks with the measures that you put in place. You know, it is your responsibility to think this through properly and get it right. You know, what we're doing, all we're doing here is just giving you the tools to be able to do so. So now I'm not going to do a full online walkthrough, as the process is in your control panel. It should hopefully be pretty simple. There are instructions available on the website and in the control panel as well. So essentially, as you said, what we said you need to do is download the 3 documents from the COVID resources area of the website, complete them yourself, get them right, and sign them. So that is at ncas.org.uk/COVID-certification. You'll then need to log into your membership control panel and upload those documents, those 3 documents, into your company docs section or storage. So those 3 documents: the risk assessment, the compliance, and the reopening checklist. Now you'll notice at the top of your control panel, there's a button that won't go anywhere until you've done it. And this is to get, what it'll say is get your business COVID safety trained. So if you click the find out more button, that is then going to take you to the certification page. And if you've uploaded your 3 documents correctly in your company documents area, you should see a lovely green tick next to each one. Now, the 4th green tick, the bottom one, represents that online training course, which Mark was talking about a minute ago. Now, you need to get yourself set up on that in the usual area. So that is set up in the usual online training area within your control panel. So then when you're set up, you set yourself up on the course, you then head over to the training website, as you do with all the other training courses that you take through NCASS. Head to the training website, ncasstraining.co.uk, to complete that course and pass that test. And as Mark said, it should take you no more than about an hour really to complete the course and get that test done. I must mention at this point, as Mark did as well, that it must be the main membership account holder, so the responsible person within the business must take the training in order to get that 4th green tick and the overall COVID certification. So the email address on the main membership account needs to match the email address of the responsible person within the business. Mark did sort of go into as well earlier as why it's important that the main account holder does complete that training course and does take responsibility for that as well. Yeah, would you want to say anything more on that, Mark, or do you think you've pretty much covered it?
I mean, I think that the only thing really that we've not covered is the fact that you know, people will be, especially with the risk assessments, it's likely that, you know, some people will have some concerns they're not doing it correctly or will want a second opinion. While our account managers can give you a second opinion, what they can't do is sign off what you're doing as good or right or proper, because they're not there to see it, and it's not really their role to do so. So, you know, if you do phone up and ask an account manager, you know, should I be putting a perspex screen here, they'll be well within their right to say, I don't know, or maybe, depending on your scenario, you know. So while we can help people through it to some degree, what we can't do is rubber stamp a risk assessment that you've done on a business that we are not in view of, if that makes sense. So you know, do understand if the account manager does turn around to you and say, well, I can give you advice, but I can't sign off anything for you. No. So if you get pulled by an EHO, you know, saying, oh, my account manager said it was all right, you know, that won't work.
Okay. So with regards to training, sorry, we jumped around a little. So just back to the training, I did miss this out. So you will have additional places on the course for managers and staff, etc. So we made the point about how it needs to be the responsible person. But if you've got other people within the business that want to sit the course or you want to train them, we'd certainly recommend that you receive the same number of places on the COVID course with your membership as you do for the level 1 and level 2 hygiene, which is then dependent upon the level of membership you are. So that's currently currently 5 level 1, 5 level 2 on a standard membership. So 5 places on the COVID course within the standard membership as well. The certificate is downloadable and printable at the end of the course. So I do need to, there it is, it got a picture of it there. So I do need to stress that we won't be sending you a printed version of that online training certificate. You can download and print it out, as I said, and keep that certificate, print that certificate yourself, or maybe simply keep it as an online document and save some trees. The course is free, so there is no charge. So what that means, obviously, is that all of this is all included within membership. And then once the membership account holder using the email address on the membership passes the COVID-19 course, if you check back to that certification page, that 4th green tick will appear, and that shows that you've uploaded and done what you need to do, and that will enable you to then click the self-certify button, which will appear, which will generate the overall certification document, and also the social stamps and the logos, etc., which you can then use. And I think we're going to hopefully get another pic of those now. You'll then be able to show that you were obviously trained up and that you're part of the scheme. There they are. And that you can then obviously use that across all your socials, website, marketing, on your premises, stall, van, trailers, etc., to show that you've done what you need to do and that you're trading as safely and responsibly as you can. All of those documents and certification also will be available, will then appear in your send documents function as well. So if you do need to share them with maybe local authorities or event organisers or whoever you need to, you can as well. So the 2 main certificates, one for anybody within the business that has actually passed the training course itself, and then 1 main certificate for the business showing that you've done everything you need to do to be part of the self certification screen. And that's it, really. Yeah, the system hopefully is fairly straightforward. The real work is actually, like we said, is in going through the process, is in completing those documents and ensuring that they're right and accurate for the needs of your business. And then, of course, most importantly, implementing those measures daily or whenever you are open or trading. The certification process, is simply about uploading the correct documents to the correct place and having the main membership account holder complete the training. If you do require assistance, Mark mentioned it earlier, but if you do require assistance, you can refer to the instructions on the website or in the control panel, or your account manager can help with any technical queries also. But I do need to sort of just re-stress what Mark said as well. Do remember, and this is important, it is your responsibility to ensure that these documents are accurate. Your account manager will not be able to check or verify these documents for you, and the reason for it is that they are not able to see or confirm the individual needs of your business. So obviously that responsibility does lie with you. And that's it, really. Mark, have you got anything to add at this point?
No, I mean, I think I'd say crack on. Really, would be my advice for anyone that is looking to get started. I think that some people will have been waiting to see how the reopening happens. See if there'd be a big, just see what happens. Whether we shut down a week later because everyone went mad or what. So I think hopefully now this will give people the opportunity to trade safely, to be confident they're doing so, to give their staff confidence, to give the local authorities and their customers confidence that they're doing things properly, and it's affordable. So I think that you have to do most of this, completing it all. You have to do the hard bits anyway. So you might as well do the easy bits while you're at it. And then I would say that email your local EHO through the NCASS system to send them all of your documents, because COVID in itself will require a material change to your business. So just the fact that this is happening will require you to, by law, and obviously things are all a bit weird at the moment, but I think it will actually help your EHO to know that you're trading and are covering these bases. I think they'll be quite happy to know that, and that might they might give you a call rather than a visit, that kind of thing. So I think that being transparent, being open with the local authorities, letting them know what you're trying to do, will reduce the likelihood of problems. And if there is a complaint, because we all know that people make spurious complaints, and we all that there is a lot of confusion about the right way to operate and the wrong way to operate. You don't have to wear a mask in a restaurant, but you do in a shop kind of vibe. There's all kinds of little nuances that are affecting things, and we'll have customers, or you'll have customers that might complain about something there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, but they've got the wrong end of the stick. So having it all transparently sent over to your EHO, having a good system that your staff can work to, that you can work to, that you can implement, keeping it simple, dealing with this in the most simple way possible.
Yep.
Not some weird, convoluted or expensive methodologies, just keeping it simple, understanding the risks and doing what you can to mitigate them. And then this is just the paperwork that backs this up. So, once you've done it, print off your certificate, get it out front and center, tell all your customers, put it on your emails, let people know that you are self-certificated through the NCASS scheme, because it will be of value.
It gives you an extra badge, really, doesn't it? Something to say that you've thought about everything and that you've got everything in place and you're doing absolutely everything you can to be as safe as you can.
Yeah, and it's in these times what people need is affordable, practical solutions. I think this is it. One company I saw was charging hundreds of pounds to phone you up and just to ask you if the things that you were doing were what you're doing. Madness, in my opinion. But if you got the money to throw away, why not? But this puts the responsibility on you to say yes, that I've done it properly and that I know what I'm doing. And that's what the certificate means. I've read it, I've understood it, I've applied it, and I'm doing it right. That's what the certificate does. So yeah.
Cool. Okay, good. Right, I think we're trying really hard to finish by 2:30. We've got a couple of questions here, and I think I can answer them both in one go. So, Lewis Brody, can we have multiple persons doing the course? Yes, you can. You get the number of places is dependent upon your membership, Lewis. And then from Coffee Bay as well, can there be more than one responsible person? The answer to that is yes as well. You only need one responsible person to take the course in order to fulfill it. But yeah, you do get 5 places within the standard membership, which, if I remember rightly, Coffee Bay, I believe that's the membership that you guys are on. So yeah, you can both get both responsible people trained up, but it only needs or requires one of you in order to get that stamp. Right, okay, I think that's it. I think we'll finish there. Mark, thank you very much. And most importantly, thank you to everyone for watching today. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.